Alright guys, here it is. This is going to be one comprehensive video on everything Spider-Man related. How he made it to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, what this means, what type of deal it is, and everything else combined. So with that in mind, let's get into it. So the announcement came at us a little after 11:30 p.m. on February 9th, 2015 in an official press release from Marvel.com. And it says that part of this deal that Spider-Man will appear in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The film is coming July 28th, 2017, formerly Thor Ragnarok release date, and it will be co-produced by Kevin Feige and his team at Marvel, involving Amy Pascal, who recently actually stepped down from Sony. Now, together, they will continue to work on Spider-Man. What is interesting, though, is Sony Pictures will continue to finance, distribute, and own, and have final creative say on Spider-Man. Which means, Marvel is going to be behind this, but Sony has to be like, yeah, okay, that's okay, because I'm pretty sure Sony wouldn't just want them to, kill off Spider-Man at the end of the movie, and that's that for the character, right? So Sony obviously has to have that creative control over it to overrule such decisions. And also, this means, and it's actually stated that Sony Pictures and Marvel can actually integrate characters from this entire Spider-Man universe into the Marvel Cinematic Universe before Spider-Man, and they could do it vice versa. So maybe in a Spider-Man movie we can have someone appear that hasn't had their own movie or anything like that yet, which is pretty damn interesting and awesome, I think. So now we're going to get into the history lesson part. So early in the fall, we actually heard about a Sony breach, a giant hack that happened that pretty much crumbled Sony. And with that in mind, a bunch of things just completely came out. We saw that they were trying to work out a deal with Spider-Man, and was something, revolving sharing the character, and we saw that Sony was talking about it elsewhere, rebooting the character, doing something completely different, continuing with Amazing Spider-Man 3, just carrying on Sinister 6 and no Spider-Man. It was all over the place. A Aunt May movie, they clearly didn't know what they were doing. We've had before, of course, Andrew Garfield and Mark Webb, the director of the Amazing Spider-Man franchise, clearly showing their dissatisfaction with how they were treated, and how pretty much they didn't have any say on anything. And we kind of saw that the writing was on the wall for that franchise anyway, no pun intended. So from that standpoint, we saw what was happening. And of course, this is when all the speculation started. Will he, will not, will Marvel come to the rescue? Will they work out a deal? And then later on in an email, we heard something about the Spidey Summit. Now, the Spidey Summit was a meeting between the heads of two studios trying to work out the deal, and the deal that you guys, just heard at the beginning of this video was what they worked out. Which, of course, within itself is, this huge thing. You're sharing a character between two rival studios. That's pretty damn impressive, and, that's a feat within itself. So where does this leave Spider-Man for the future? Of course, we have done a podcast on this and various other things, so I'll just annotate it right here if you guys want to listen to it. I think it's pretty big. Spider-Man is the most recognizable superhero on the planet when it comes to, Marvel, and he's right up there with Superman. He certainly sells more than anybody combined, so it's pretty interesting. And there's a lot of details that can just be talked about this, and we'll be talking about them in the future. But what's good to know is that, Spider-Man and his rich history is going to play a huge part going forward with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He can definitely, usher in the new age of younger superheroes that they need for this, and once Tony Stark, Iron Man is kind of be, phased out, we have Spider-Man now, so they can take a back seat to these characters and introduce new ones, which is something I think all of us want to see. We just don't want to see the same old things reused over and over and over. So I hope this video kind of just quickly explains to you guys what happened, and sound off with your thoughts down below, guys. So thank you for watching the video, and if you guys like what you saw, don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you haven't already, check out some of these other great videos we have on the channel. Just click the annotation right there, it'll take you to them. Thank you for watching, guys, and have a good one.